Shall we? So everybody should have this packet. So our first opening exercise is, suppose that a group of 360 coworkers pool their money by buying a single lottery ticket every day, with the understanding that if any ticket is a winning ticket, the group will split the winnings evenly. I have to speak louder because the mic's all the way up there. And they all donate any leftover money to the local high school. Using this strategy, if the group wins $1,000, how much money will be donated to the high school? So, what they mean by this is 360 people split $1,000 evenly, not down to the cent, but to the dollar. Okay? Does that make sense to everybody? All right, so how would I find out how much money does the high school get? How would I find out? Go ahead, Mason. Until I don't have 360? Okay, so Mason's strategy was take $1,000, subtract 360 from it. What do I get when I do that? Get 640?
Yeah.
Can I subtract 360 again? Yeah, I can. Let's subtract 360 from 640. What do I get?
About 260.
280? Let's do that. 1,000 minus 360. And what do we say? We said 640, right? Now I take 640 and subtract 360 from that. 0 from 0 is 0. 14 or 6 from 14 is 8. And then 3 from 5 is 2. Can I take 360 away from that guy? No. So then I'm done. This goes to the high school. Okay? So when my lottery ticket won me $1,000, we gave $280 to the high school. Okay? Now, do we want to do that strategy here? What if the winnings were worth $250,000? So, say that again, just Tabitha. Yes. So you take the 250,000 and divide it by the number of workers. Now, I get, when I do it here, I get a number, but I can also do it on my calculator. What do I get when I do it on my calculator, Taylor? 694.4 repeating. What part of that answer is important? What's the 694.4 repeating? What does that mean? But do we do dollars and cents? We just do dollars, right? What do we do with the cents? So if I understand that question correctly, the high school gets 44 cents? Okay, so when I do this in the calculator, I get 694.4 repeating, right? So I can either take this 694 times it by 360 and then subtract that from 250,000. Could I also take this 0.4 repeating and multiply it by 360 as well? What's 0.4 repeating times 360? because this is the part, this 0.4 repeating is the part we're giving to the high school, right? But there's not just one 0.4 repeating. How many 0.4 repeatings are there? There's 360 of them, right? So I take the 360 times 0.4 repeating, what do I get, Nick? 80. Huh? 0.44. I'll do 4 to 3 decimal places. Actually, run. Run. That's a meme, right?
Stink.
360 times 0.44444444.
Roll with it.
160. 160. Now let's do Tabitha's way. Let's do 250,000 divided by 360. There's the 0.444 repeating, right? Now let's take this 694 and times it by 360. That's the amount of money going to each individual, right? Or I'm sorry, that's the total number. So that's the amount that when divided equally by 360 gets me 694, right? So that's how, when I add all the 694s together, that's how much I get. Now, if I subtract that from 250,000, so 250,000 minus this, I get 160. Whoa. Okay, so 160 it is. 160 it is. Yes. 160. Now, what if the answer was 540,000? Choose the strategy that makes the most sense to you. Either Tabitha's solution. Remember, Tabitha's solution was divide 540,000 by 360. Take that whole number, times it by 360, and then subtract it from 540,000. Or take the 540,000, divide it by 360, and whatever the remainder is, the 0.444 or whatever, multiply that by 360 and you got your answer. What's your answer?
No money.
No money. The high school gets nothing. Now let's do this. Let's do this. I'm going to draw a little graph right here. Now, if how should I put this?
Hashtag.
If the group of workers gets $0 in their lottery winnings, how much money do they get each? And how much money does the high school get? 0. Okay, I'm going to put that right here. So when the winning ticket is worth 0, the high school gets 0. What if the winning ticket is worth $1? Can I break that up 360 ways? So how much money does the high school get? They get $1, right? So it goes up a little bit, right?
Now the penny.
How about if the winning ticket is worth $180? How much does each person get? Can you divide 100? Well, remember, we're talking dollars, right? We're talking dollars. And I'd split up $300 or $180 evenly amongst 360 people when I'm just talking dollars. I cannot, right? So, how much money does the high school get? They get 100. They get everything, right? Right? Because the people don't get any because I can't split 180 up 360 ways. Because we're doing dollars, right? Nobody wants to deal with a 50-cent check. You want a 50-cent check?
Yeah.
No. More hassle to cash the check than it is to just say give it to the high school. So all the way over here, when it's 180, the value's 180. Now,
Or keep the pennies until they're really old and sell them for more.
what about
100 years.
hmm. What about when it's $360? How about this? How about when it's $359? How much money does a high school get? $359, right? So up here is $359. What happens when it's $360?
Paid rates.
How much money does a high school get when the winning ticket's worth $360? It goes down to zero.
What are they gonna buy with
Boom.
$360? They would buy for overpriced.
You remember the Spartan 300?
Yeah, I do.
What's the max ticket worth?
300.
300. What does the football team do with $300?
Wait, helmets. Half a helmet.
It's half a helmet.
Half a helmet.
But how much does the Spartan 300 get if all 300?
A lot.
I think it's like 30. I think it's 30,000. Or no, it's
28. 24.
there's a formula for it.
Do it.
Add all the numbers up.
It's 301 times 300 over 2, whatever that is.
I'm guessing they're all like 900 something.
Yeah, so about 45,000. Close to 45,000. That's if every single one is sold. But back to this. Now, what happens at 361? How much does the high school get? $1, right? Boom. And $362? $2, right? What about $719? That's one less than 2 times 360. 359, right? All the way up here again, right? And then at 720, it drops back down to 0. So what happens is, you look and it's going to do like this. And it's going up and it's going to drop. And this doesn't look a lot like a sine or a cosine function, but it is what we call a periodic function.
Green shoes the outside.
This is going to repeat, right? This is going to repeat over and over and over again. Sine and cosine do the same thing. So, now think about this. I want to draw this in a what do I call that again? What is this, Jesse? Other than the symbol for the zodiac.
Ferris wheel.
You ever seen that movie?
Zodiac killer.
Yeah, it's an awesome movie.
The Zodiac Killer?
Yeah, it's an awesome movie, isn't it? I like that movie. Anyhow, what do I call this again?
A circle.
What kind of circle? Unit circle. Thank you, Jesse. Now, think about this. We drew angles on the unit circle, right? What is that angle right there?
360.
That's 360. But I got to go to 405, don't I? So how much further do I go?
A little bit. 40.
So 360.
35.
I got to go
35 more degrees.
45 degrees more.
35.
45.
35.
405 minus 360.
Yeah.
5 minus 0 is 5. 10 minus 6 is 4. 45 degrees. So I got to go another 45 degrees, and that's where I draw my ray. And riddle me this, Batman.
What about Robin?
What? We don't care about Robin. What angle is that? So this is 45 degrees. What is the sine and cosine of 45 degrees? Go back to your unit circle from yesterday.
16,000.
Root 2 over 2. Cosine of 45, or well, cosine of 405 is the same thing as the cosine of 45. They're the same thing. And this equals root 2 over 2. Now the sine of this angle, the sine of 405, is the same thing as the sine of 45. And what's the sine of 45, according to our unit circle from yesterday? I wonder quietly to myself. Square root of 2 over 2. Okay. Now, we kind of ignored this part yesterday. The identify the reference angle. What is the reference angle? In this case, it's 45. I don't think I did a good job yesterday telling you what a reference angle meant. Now I'm going to give it out. It's the angle measure between my ray and the nearest x-axis. So when the ray is in this quadrant, in the first quadrant, I draw a line straight down to the positive x-axis. Yes? Yes, Liv? That's my reference angle. Yes, Jasmine? Say again? That's called the reference angle. And it's the angle between the ray and the nearest x-axis.
Why is there a rabbit with calculator?
Oh, what?
A rabbit with calculator.
It's just the brand name. Now, if I want to find, listen up please. If I want to find the cosine of 840 degrees, I want to find 840 degrees. Let me ask you this. I don't get a lot of room in my picture land for this. But if I go once around, how many degrees is that? 360. If I go a full second time around, how much is that?
820.
Close. 720. Skateboarders know that. How much further do I got to go to get to 840?
Skiers know that.
720 to 840 is 120, right? Well, this is 720 plus another 90, right? So that's 810. And then I go another 30 to get to 840. And there is my ray, right there. Now, if this, I'm going to do this in red. God, I wish they'd give me more room. If this is 30 degrees right here, what's this? 60, right? Why is it 60?
90.
This is a right angle, and 30 and 60 are complementary, right?
Sure.
What does it mean to be complementary angles? Who remembers that from
Add
geometry?
it up to 180. They both like 90 or something.
Supplementary is 180. Complementary angles add up to 90 degrees. Okay? So this angle right here is 60 degrees, and that's your reference angle. Okay? But what is the cosine of 840? We look at 60. What's the cosine of 60? Cosine of 840, it's going to be 1/2. However, is it going to be 1/2? Andrew, it's going to be 1/2. Why not? Why is this not going to be 1/2? Well, we're on a 60-degree angle right now, right, Jeff? What am I missing there? Remember, cosine is left-right, right? So what am I missing here? If my angle is over here, and I'm looking at cosine, which is the x, it's negative, right, Ryan? This is negative 1/2.
Quiet, Ryan.
What is the sine of this angle? What is the sine of 840? Again, refer to that 360/90. Yes, Jasmine. Well, if I do 840, did you follow me to this point where 840 gets me here on the unit circle? Right? And then did you follow me that this angle right here is 60 degrees? Okay, so now we're looking at that. We're looking at this triangle right here. This triangle right here. And cosine is
Highly
the
doubt people make houses with 840-degree angles.
cosine is this adjacent over this, the hypotenuse. What is the length of this side?
3 square root of 3 over 2. 2 square root of 2 over 2. 1.
Well, back to your.
1/2.
The length of this is 1/2, but because it's to the left,
Negative 1.
it's negative 1/2.
There, out of that square. There you
If it's to the right side, it'd be positive 1/2.
go. All right.
All right.
Videos you look up.
What's the sine of this angle? Root 3 over 2. It's up, right? Now, what about these guys? Oh, what did we say the reference angle was again? 60 degrees, right? 60 is my reference angle. Now, if I do 1680, do I need to draw a picture? Excuse me. Do I need to do a picture of this? Let's try and do it without the picture. Let's take 1680 and divide it by 360. Find out how many times around it goes. What do we got? Let's see. 16. Oh. 1680 divided by 360 equals 4 2/3, huh? Okay. So I want to take this 2/3 and multiply by 360, right? Minus 4, and then times 360. So what's my reference angle? Not quite. I like where you're thinking though, Jeff. I like where you're thinking. If I do 240, remember, my unit circle, right? So, here I'm at 90, right? Where am I at here? 180. Here I'm at 270, right? That's too far. That's too far. I got to go to 180 plus how much more? Remember, I got to get to 240 here. So from 180 to 240 is how many more degrees?
280, 30, 40.
Camden? 60. So I go 60 degrees more.
So that's 30.
What's my reference angle? Remember, reference angle is from the ray to the nearest x-axis.
50.
So it's 60. So my reference angle equals 60. What is my sine and cosine of this angle? What is the length of this side right here, the horizontal side of my
One
triangle?
half.
1/2, but it's in the
Negative
third
1/2.
quadrant, so cosine is negative 1/2. Cosine of 1680 equals negative 1/2. What is the sine of this angle? Negative root 3 over 2. So the sine of this angle of 1680 equals negative root 3 over 2. All right. I want everybody to do number 4. Work with a partner and do number 4. I'm going to pause the video.